Hello, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. We're diving into some Mary Kay today. It's been a little while since we visited our favorite Mary Kay leader, and she recently had a guest in her training, her weekly training with her team, and it was interesting. We're gonna react to the entire thing, and we're gonna get right the fuck into it. But first, we need the disclaimer.
No telling where we'll be going, but I'm gonna be on it, you know it for sure. Think I might leave shawty at the crib. Can't stress by nobody child today. That's why I'm out.
It's Brittany Mitchell, your Mary Kay Sales Director. Welcome to the Huddle. It's our favorite night of the week, as we say every single Tuesday. It's Huddle night. And my favorite thing is together, as you all know. And here we all are together. And so we're going to kick it off with some wise words from Mary Kay Ash. And she says, if there is a lesson in life to be learned from a trying experience, don't let problems that are out of your control get to you. Instead of panicking, look at the humorous side. Every woman should attempt to do this, no matter how stressed out she is. We have to take life in stride, one step at a time. As long as we can laugh and stop treating difficulties as disasters, everything will be just fine. And everyone said, amen, Mary Kay Ash, right?
Amen. Yes, ma'am.
Yikes. Amen, Mary Kay Ash.
I swear to God, this has got to be a joke.
They're praying to Mary Kay. We are off to a lovely start. This is setting the tone. It's going to be great. I'm so ready.
You guys, she taught me everything that I know, and I know you're going to learn so much from her tonight. So let me share a few more of her incredible accolades. Peggy writes, have you ever felt satisfied with life as it is, but knew you were created for something more? Well, 44 years ago, Peggy was a pediatric nurse who chose to stay home with her 2 toddlers. She was also a military wife, and she was new to her community and longed for a fun social outlet, flexible hours, and the opportunity to grow personally and financially. Peggy chose Mary Kay as her vehicle.
She had a good amount of the things that MLM participants prey on when they are looking for somebody to recruit onto their team. And I'm not saying that this makes them automatically a horrible person. This is a behavior that starts at the top of the MLMs, the pyramid-like structure businesses. It starts at the CEOs. They encourage this behavior and it trickles down. So it's not necessarily the people that are portraying the behaviors. This is what they're taught to do. So let me point out the things that made her extra vulnerable and gave the green light to whoever recruited her. She was a stay-at-home mom of 2 kids. She was a military wife, and she was new to her area, so she didn't know anybody. She wanted to connect with more people. All things that people utilize to say,
this MLM will help you. This MLM will help you meet new people. It will help you because you can contribute to the household without leaving your kids. It will help you because you have location freedom when your husband's orders change and you have to move.
probably horseshit. Those are all things that I was even taught to say to other people when I was trying to recruit to the MLMs that I was in. It is gross, of course, in my opinion. And the reason I feel that way is because the likelihood of these individuals succeeding in any way, shape, or form is so slim. They have less than a 1% chance in most cases to make any kind of profit, a dollar, a penny, anything. And by the time they figure that out, it's likely too late. They're already too far in debt.
Help me, I'm poor.
They're too deep into the community part to feel comfortable leaving.
Shit, it's a cult. It's a fucking cult.
It really puts people in a worse position than they're already in. Just leave people alone is what I'm trying to say. Stop recruiting to MLMs. Don't join an MLM if anybody approaches you.
She has led her powerhouse unit to national sales recognition 37 times. She has earned 25 diamond rings for the National Court of Sales and was honored with the company's highest honor, Miss Go Give, in February 2007. Her highest earnings in 1 month are over $17,000. 1 month, you guys. But above all the awards, she and her husband, Terry, Big T, we call him because he's super tall, you guys, They
I thought she said big teeth. I was like, holy shit, that's fucking rude. I'm glad she didn't say that.
appreciate the positive Mary Kay environment that surrounds their three children, Katie, who interned for me, Amy, and Colin. After 27 years of service with 19 moves around the country, Terry retired as an Air Force colonel. And after restarting her business in 13 different locations, Peggy and Terry now reside in Chapel Hill, North Carolina. She began her Mary Kay career 44 years ago. Let's just do this. Everybody, oh.
Actually, let's not.
44 years. You guys, people don't stay where they aren't being poured into.
That was cult-like behavior. You are praising and bowing down at this individual because they've been in the company for 44 years after you just prayed to Mary Kay Ash. They don't even see it.
And flourishing and succeeding. Oh my goodness. She's earned 24 company cars, 16 of them the prestigious pink Cadillac. She's been a star consultant 175 quarters. She's been in the National Court of Sales 25 times and has earned 14 medals for building her team through recruiting and sharing the opportunity. 4 gold medals, that's when you have 5 new team members in a month. 1 silver medal, that's 4 team members in a month. And 10 bronze medals, that's 3 new personal team members in a month. Oh my gosh, you guys, her highest unit circle of achievement that she and her unit have accomplished so far is the $550,000 circle in June 2023. You guys, I'm so honored to share her with you tonight and to hand off the mic to my dear friend who I love and adore and respect more than I could ever say. Please give a warm welcome to Peggy Young.
Oh, you guys are just, Brittany, I loved our time together. The time flew. I didn't even look at how long we were on, but it was priceless time. So thank you so much for inviting me and putting, we guard our women very carefully because we want to protect what goes into their hearts and their minds. So I'm very honored that you're allowing me to do this. I'm so glad you gave background, Brittany, on how we met because I would have loved to have you as my personal team member, but God knew that here's how I met Anne was do any of you do charitable events where you put together like a miracle set, okay? And my wise husband, Big Terry, said, why not leave the boxes empty? Because then they have to call you to personalize the skincare, right? Because you don't want them getting oily if they're dry or dry if they're oily. So I did that. I decorated up a beautiful miracle set, and Anne, who was at that time married to Brittany's boss, got the gift and called me for a facial.
That won't work today. This is a tactic that, in my opinion, will not work for anyone today. If you received an empty box and were told that you won something, but you have to call this individual in order to receive that, would you call them?
No. Absolutely not.
Never.
Not a chance in hell.
Maybe it's just because I'm more aware of what to look for because I've been following the anti-MLM movement for so long, but I just feel like most people, if they get an empty box with instructions to call someone to get the contents of the box, most people are not going to call. Maybe 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10. This is a great example of what I just said. They're so out of touch with what works today and marketing today and makeup today and skincare today. It's just interesting. Yeah, that's all. Okay, back to it.
And I went over, and I will tell you, it was inconvenient because where Brittany and I lived, I was on the other side of the water, and people, I don't know, did they think it's Moses during the Red Sea? You can't cross the water. But seriously, I was willing to go any place to meet this woman because she sounded so sharp. Well, I didn't know that that was going to be the way to meeting Brittany Mitchell. But it happened when Brittany and John went to go visit Anne and her husband. And I remember Terry and I were overseas. I'm trying to remember if that would have been when we were visiting our daughter, Amy, in England. She was doing a study abroad. I think it was Amy in England. Anyway, I remember somehow checking voicemail or seeing an email or something that this Brittany Mitchell wanted information on the business. Now, Anne didn't know really how it worked, that you want to stay with whoever your consultant is. And so Brittany called Yellow Pages, is how we found people then, Brittany called all the directors in Virginia Beach that were in Yellow Pages and left messages. Hey, I want to be a consultant. Hey, I want to be a consultant. No one called her back. That makes my heart sad, but I'm so grateful. I am so grateful that no one did. Brittany, you were meant to be in my world, and I'm so forever grateful. I think of the same kitchen table, dining room table that you sat at for your new consultant. You crossed the water that time, made the miracle happen, came all the way over across the bridge, came to our military housing, sat at the kitchen table, and learned the basics of Mary Kay. And then I remember your launch party, your debut. I pull up in the pink Cadillac, and I remember John. John comes out and he meets me and he says, hey, can I give you a word of advice about Brittany? Just stay out of her way. And I will tell you, it has been so fun to be there as a mentor, but to let her fly on her own. You have an incredible director. Just watching the way that she's orchestrating your time together, the way she encourages you and blesses you. And I have to tell you that foundation finder, I have not done it myself yet. I used it for the first time on a customer yesterday who came over for a makeover, the makeover contest. And she moved from California about a year and a half ago. She used only the foundation, and I think she used something for her eyebrows. And she put a notice out on Facebook Marketplace looking for a Mary Kay consultant. Like, it made it look like she was selling Mary Kay. I'm so glad nobody reported her. But
if you didn't know, selling Mary Kay products or MLM products online, like listing them on Marketplace, is against all the rules. So if you ever see that happening from somebody who is currently a consultant with any MLM, you can definitely report them.
I'm in a women's networking group. And if you want to meet new people, join a women's only networking group, because women know how to connect women. And we have something in our networking group. We're all watching all of the different Facebook groups we're in and all of these little ways where we're seeing people. When someone says, hey, I'm looking for a financial advisor, we all tag Nicole or we shout out how great she is. So one of the gals in my group, Tammy, said to her, you need to call Peggy. She has everything in stock. She'll take care of you, because the gal was leaving on Saturday. So I dropped off the product, met her, really, really liked her, and said, I would love to connect with you when we get back home. Can I give you a call? She said, yes, you may. So that was the appointment. She came in with her foundation. She said, I need a new one of these, but I'm not really sure it's the right color. Even Mary Kay customers are possibly using the wrong color or feeling uncomfortable that they might be wearing the wrong color.
Gasp.
Even Mary Kay customers. Like, there's some kind of customers that are on a different level of any other makeup customer. Like, they are superior. They know their exact skin match in foundation. Get a hold of yourself.
So she was a beige, and I think it was beige N140. I think N140 is what it was. So I told her, would you like to be the first person to be my model learning this app? So y'all, you don't have to learn everything before you put it into action. I knew how to find it on my phone. That was it. I had not tried it. We were stumbling in the dark, and it was really pretty easy. We had to change a couple different places in the light. We tried it under CC cream, and it came out very light. And I thought, oh, I don't think she's a very light, but let's try it. Okay, well, let's try it again and do it. She wanted a little bit more coverage. It came out to be an ivory N140. So it was still N neutral, but it was a shade from beige to ivory. So we did half of her face in her beige, and it was matte, beige matte, and the other one was luminous, ivory. Y'all, she looked 10 years younger. It was unbelievable. I thought it was going to be too light for her, but when she put it on, it just disappeared. Even down on her décolleté, it worked so well. And the beige matte looked dirty. And she said, I've wondered why it's been so hard to apply. I said, your skin's changed. Never put down the other consultant. I could have said, oh, she gave you the wrong formula. No, she was in California. Odds are her skin was different. She's older now. She needs something different. And, she bought her N150. So that's a message to all of us to try this. Now, a friend of mine just tried it, and she texted me and said, oh, this is so off. It says I'm beige W100. And then she said, I know, you're going to say try it anyway. Try what it recommends. You can always tweak it, but try and see, because I think sometimes we just think we know it all, and maybe AI is a little bit smarter than us sometimes. So stories, Mary Kay stories. I want to tell you some fun things about Mary Kay stories. Okay, As I think it was as MJ was talking, I decided to get out my this is my very first date book. Can you see that cute little book? It's only like, it's small. It's like 4 by 6. Okay.
With Mary Kay's autograph in the corner. Like, that's her signature. They really don't see it. They treat her like she's a god. It's kind of scary.
This was our date book. And in the beginning, oh, this is so interesting. Should I tell you how I came into Mary Kay? Would that be fun? Okay. This is like sitting on Mama's knee, and I'll tell you the bedtime story.
And it just got weird.
So I lived in Alaska for a year. My husband was remote, and I was going crazy. It was dark, and Katie was 18 months old, and I was 8 months pregnant with Amy. They were 18 months apart, so she was 17 months old. And they had this big deal, fly any place in the United States for $700 for a whole 21 days. I was broke as a skunk, but I said, for my mental health, I have got to go. Plus, my sister was getting married. Okay, so I went, okay, I want to go back for the wedding. Where else can I have to? So I saw friends in Minneapolis, my sister's wedding in Wisconsin, our old chaplain who was in Virginia at the time, Hampton. My best friend from Germany was in Dover, New Hampshire. My parents were in Florida. So after my sister's wedding, I go to Dover, New Hampshire. And she says, we're going to have a Mary Kay party. And I said, what's that? Like, I hadn't heard of it. This is in 1980. 79, no, 80. I had never heard of it. And she said, well, it's where we teach you skincare. My girlfriend from church is coming over, and her husband has cancer. And so anything that, you don't have to buy anything, but anything we do is good for her. So I said, okay, I'll try it. So she had 4 or 5 friends around the table, loved the girl who was the consultant. I could not believe what my skin felt like. And this is the olden days when you had to put the freshener on and leave it for 20 minutes, then wash it off. And you had to mix the mask. It was like it looked like oatmeal in a jar. And if your skin was dry, you mixed it with milk. If your skin was normal, you mixed it with water. And if your skin was oily, you didn't know this, Brittany? And if your skin was oily, you mixed it with lemon juice.
What?
You used to have to mix shit with other shit you had to buy to put it on your face? Why even bother? Mary Kay really hasn't known what they're doing for this entire time. But here we are, still kicking in the pink Cadillacs. The fuck?
My last 2 traveler's checks, I think it was $40 for the basic. My last 2 traveler's checks I gave her, trusting that I would get to my parents in Florida, and maybe I would have extra change. I don't know if they could get me home back to Alaska. But for the next 2 days, I was walking around with my friend saying, okay, did I do my steps right? I wore no makeup at the time, y'all. No makeup. I was a nurse. Remember, we wash hands a lot, and we wear masks, even before COVID. And my friend Sue was a nurse also. So she had 2 little ones. I had one on the way, and she coached me through using the product, so I knew it by the time I left. One of the things that the consultant said over and over and over again was you need to get your skin checked in a week or 2. Isn't that still Mary Kay's plan? Check up from the neck up, second facial, whatever we want to call it. She embedded it in my brain so much that I thought my face would fall off if I did not find a consultant in Alaska when I got there, because I certainly couldn't stay and have it with her. So a little side note, Sue and I, my friend Sue, we tracked down that consultant and called her. And she's no longer in Mary Kay, but I said, I don't know if anyone has ever told you thank you, but I want to let you know you changed my life. You changed my marriage, you changed my parenting. Everything about my life changed because of Mary Kay products. Thank you, thank you. And how's your husband? And she said, he survived his cancer journey. So isn't that amazing? So anyway, I go to my dad's house. I know how to do it. 3 days on the product. I get off the plane, and my dad is very anti-makeup, was very anti-makeup. And he used to, if I snuck out with anything on, he'd say, go wash that. So I walked in and he said, oh my gosh, you look so well rested. Now, would you be well rested if you were in a house with 3 little toddlers? Heck no. I said, it must be my Mary Kay. And he said, show your mother.
Okay, here's the thing though. If you've never used anything else ever before, she said that she's never worn makeup, how do you know it's the best? You have nothing to compare it to. How do you know that it wouldn't be the same? They wouldn't have said the same thing with anything else, with CoverGirl, with Maybelline, with Estee Lauder, with Clinique. They would have said the same thing because you're doing something different. You can't go through your whole life saying that Mary Kay is the best product out there when you've never tried anything else on your skin.
So I'm a customer using my own products, and I'm in the bathroom showing my mom Mary Kay products. So fast forward, I get to Alaska. I'm looking for a consultant. I'm at our church that I went to. Terry didn't live with us. He was up in a mountain hole. I was all by myself. I was a single mom, and I was looking around. I was noticing people's skins. Who do I know? Do you use Mary Kay? Do you have a consultant? And this young blonde girl came up. She was brand new in the business. Can you imagine having someone looking for their checkup facial and you're a brand new consultant? Could you get excited? Well, she was excited. I said, I started with this product. I love it. I might have some of my girlfriends over because I work part-time as a nurse to get out of the house. And if you could just help me make sure my skin's not falling off. And she said, I'd love that. So got my few, I think 3 or 4 girlfriends around the table. She helped me find a plum lipstick, was the one lipstick I was willing to wear, and had a party. And my friends had so much fun. They said, let's do it another time. So we had a second party. And unbeknownst to me, there was a hostess contest going on in Fairbanks, Alaska. And I came in number 3. I didn't even know there was a contest. Tell you what, if I'd known there was a contest, I would have been queen. But I remember going to that event, watching the people going, they look like they're having a lot of fun. And then the consultant called and said, my director would like to talk to you. And I said, I'm really not interested. And she said, well, we're meeting for a breakfast meeting. And, would you like, to get away from the baby for a couple hours? I said, I'll see if I can find a sitter. So I did. I was the only person there. So it really was, I don't think they set it up to be just me. I think I was the only one that showed. And the director was very professional, went through the marketing plan. And I said, no, no, no. I'm moving. I'm expecting a baby. My husband's coming home. I don't like sales. Every excuse in the book, and never thought maybe I'll do this. Here's a lesson that I want to share with each of you. If you share the opportunity with someone and you think she'd be good, you think she'd be an asset to Mary Kay or special on your team, or you think it would be good for her, then let her know that you're connected in the heart. That sometime in the future, if you ever change your mind, I'd be so honored if you called.
What does that even mean? Let them know you're connected in the heart? What? What does that even mean? Where am I? What matrix am I in? None of this has anything to do with much of anything. She's just talking about herself. And what are we watching?
I was just going to ask you the exact same question.
I don't know, but hopefully you're entertained. Hopefully we're learning something. I don't know. Let's keep going and listen to her give more praise to Mary Kay for making her life amazing.
That was never said to me. I would have called 6 months later. Let me think here. 1, 2, 4, 10 months later, I went to a guest event. Never, ever thought back to that consultant in Alaska. Moved to California for school, found a consultant who dropped off the product and took the money. There was absolutely no relationship. My first consultant called me on my birthday. Now, I was a single mom. Terry's up on a mountain. He forgot my birthday.
That's inappropriate! That's inexcusable!
And I remember I had my mask on and it dried like concrete. And I went to answer the phone. Hello? I couldn't even answer the phone because the mask was so hard on my face. And she wished me happy birthday. And so if you don't have a birthday plan in place, a birthday club, some way that you are celebrating your customers for their birthday, please get something in place, because you may be the only person that calls her on her birthday. And that is sad.
That is devastating. And if you're an individual whose husband forgets your birthday, he better have dementia. Yeah. That's all I'll say, 'cause bye. But anyway, that's great. But what was her end goal? Her end goal was to get you to buy, to join. It wasn't because she remembered. She wrote it down in her date book so that she would remember to reach out to you, so you would feel some type of way and feel like you should join the Mary Kay community. That's how they get you. And today, it won't work out in your favor because Mary Kay is no longer a ground floor opportunity or as in demand as it used to be. People have figured them out. People have found less expensive products. They have found more convenient ways to get products. It's not how it used to be. So someone having success in any way, shape, or form in Mary Kay today compared to back then through wishing people a happy birthday, it doesn't matter anymore. That falls on deaf ears these days a lot of times.
Learned to call me, take care of me on my birthday, because he doesn't want to be shown up by a Mary Kay consultant. Okay, so I get to Cheyenne, Wyoming. So Alaska, we go to California for 4 months. We moved to Cheyenne, Wyoming, and we buy our first house, and we are like up to here with we are going like that with making our bills. We never were late on our bills, but there was never any extra. And I kept telling all my friends, there were a couples that were also at the same school in California. So we all moved together. So I knew about 3 or 4 ladies. And one of the ladies would say, oh, my skin's so dry here. And I'd say, you've got to try Mary Kay. Find a Mary Kay consultant. And so she did, through like a welcome program or a welcome wagon packet. She started on the skincare. And one day she called me and said, hey, my Mary Kay consultant is inviting me to this event and I don't want to go by myself. Will you come? I was like, well, I need to get out of the house. Absolutely. I don't even know what I did with the kids, to be honest with you, because my husband was doing missile hole duty where they're gone for 36 hours overnight. And I don't know. I didn't leave them by themselves. I trust you. I really did get care for my children. But I went with my friend Danita because she didn't want to go by herself. And I walked in, and the guest speaker was our beautiful, now retired national, Winnie Lou Ferguson. I was wowed. She had, like, I still say this, in Cheyenne, if you have dung on your boots, you're really in style. Well, Winnie Lou stood out. She had this gorgeous bright red with a ruffle, ultra suede suit, her sharp blonde haircut, and she talked with this Peggy, the way she'd say my voice, this Southern accent, just this lower voice, Southern accent. And she talked about 3 children and having an education, a degree in education, being a teacher, and finding something different that she needed in Mary Kay. And I was like, oh my gosh, I want to learn from this woman. So I go up at the end, there's refreshments in the back. It's kind of like an altar call. I go up and I sit down and they said, who's your consultant? I said, well, her name is Jean, but I've never met her before because her husband always brings me the product. She'd had a car accident. And so I knew her husband and not her. So I said, oh, she said, oh, that's me. And I said, hi, I'm Peggy. And she said, oh, I'm Jean. This was on July 1st. Think about it. July 1st is a brand new year. July 1st, I started July 1st.
Yeah, something weird about Mary Kay is they start their years on July 1st and they walk around saying Happy New Year on July 1st. It's really bizarre. I learned that recently. Mary Kay is really something. Eventually, we'll do a deep dive, maybe, hopefully, but Mary Kay, man, it's something else.
Brand new year. And 4 months later, I was in directorship qualification within the minimum time, which at that point was 4 months. So, this date book, I went to that training class the next day. I prayed about it. I fleeced it. I threw fleeces out. I called my husband and I said, why don't, like, it's only it was $100 then. It's $100. Well, we don't really have the money. And he said, Peggy, you don't get dressed up. You really don't have clothes. I know they're supposed to look nice and you don't know anyone and we don't even have an extra car. Like, I'm not sure. And I said, well, it wouldn't hurt to try. And he said, you know what? You're right. Kind of like what you said, MJ. Won't you give me a try? Why not say that? Why not give Mary Kay a try? And my husband gave me permission. He opened up the opportunity and he said, you've always done well when you've put your mind to something. Why not give it a try?
Won't you give me a try?
Please, won't you be my neighbor?
He didn't say, show me. He just said, I believe that you could do this, have fun. But he really didn't understand the business. So I prayed all night long because I didn't have babysitting childcare for the girls. They were then 1 and 2. This was the day before my daughter turned, her birthday was the next day, her first birthday. And I put them in a daycare on base. And I went to the training class, how to be a director in 6 months. All I wanted was $50 a week. I did not want big things. There was a church on the hill that had private daycare or a preschool. The girls called it pretty school. I wanted my girls to be able to go to that and learn mentoring and from another woman besides me. And so that became my first goal. $50 a week, $50 a month, $50 a week. And I was willing to work 10 to 15 hours. So I shared this because this was our Mary Kay date book. And Mary Kay, it's called a summary page. Can you see that? That's a summary page. So my first week in Mary Kay.
I'm stuck on that from another woman besides me. That's a really interesting thing to say. Is that a religious thing? What are these women? They're not real. They're just not real. I am in a different dimension and so are you. Welcome.
I spent 4 hours. I had one double facial. It was $14.50 and one booking. And then my next one, I had 2 people at, and it was $31.50. I had a whopping $112 retail week with 4 hours spent. That's not, I was not a fast burner. Okay. The next week, I had my first party. Really excited. I had 3 people at the party. It was my next door neighbor. A girl walked in to return some product. I thought, uh-oh. Well, we have a satisfaction guarantee, so I'll take care of her. And I switched her moisturizer. She was happy for the rest of her life. My party from that one was, well, that was my second party, $58. There were 4 people there. My first party was with a friend that moved from California. It was $5. Spent an hour and a half, $5, no bookings. And here's the heart of Mary Kay. I want to share this with you. The hostess bought the skincare set and some concealer because she had a lot of discoloration. She and I were the same age. And I was so excited for her to feel good and look like take care of herself. She had 3 kids, expecting a 4th. And the next day, her husband, our friend, called me and said, boy, you are some salesperson to talk my wife into all of those cosmetics. I said, Bob, she deserves to take care of her skin. This is not cosmetics, it's skincare, but it's totally up what you decide to do. She returned her skincare.
These guys are assholes.
And when I called my husband and told him, he said, honey, one person is not going to make or break your journey.
We as women should have never put up with that shit. The things that women put up with back in the day from men is infuriating. He made her return skincare, and this one's husband forgot her birthday. I'm sorry. What?
Bye, Felicia.
And I cried for her. I didn't cry because I had to have a basic returned. I cried because someone was so stomped down by their husband that they couldn't flourish like I was. And so,
not flourish like you were, because, again, were you flourishing? Anyway.
You know, that was the beginning. That was the beginning. I think, it was a long time before I had $100. I think it was 3 or 4 weeks. It was 3 weeks before I had, 4 weeks before I had a $102 party. So I give you hope. I give everybody hope. But let me tell you, Mary Kay said, everything goes in your date book, so you look really busy.
Oh, she's another hope dealer. Just like our Scentsy friend. Hope dealer. Hey.
Okay, we don't have a date book anymore. So find a calendar that works for you and make it work and highlight everything. And I figured out my show average, they called them shows then, not parties, in 1981 was $71. You're not going to get rich on $71, but I was persistent. I also made this is my team building photo book. You're just going to die laughing. So here's a picture of Mary Kay. I always start out with Mary Kay's story. Here's a picture of my kids. This is how old they were when I started. Amy was 1 year old. Katie was 2.5.
The picture of Mary Kay that they all have of her in her glamour shots. It's literally like the pictures of Jesus that people have in their homes. It's scary. That's not okay. That's a red flag.
And then when I became a director, they were this big. I went to my first retreat and met Helen McVoy. Here was my husband when we were in Alaska, and our son was born. I was a director about a year and got pregnant with Colin, and Winnie Lou said to me, Peggy, production is wholesale, not more children. But Colin was it was everything our family needed. So these were the products at the time. There's your skincare, our men's skincare. So I had pictures of the products, and this is how I shared the marketing plan. We didn't have anything that you could type up with. You had to take these letters and rub them in to make it look like it was typed. I mean, we are so blessed right now, y'all. We are so blessed. I had pictures of different prizes that I'd won that were special to me. I had a picture of the rose because that's how we grow. Mary Kay said we start out as tight little rosebuds that just don't know how to bloom, and we blossom and we give off the scent of success. But it's not money. It's so much more than profit. It's a calling. I have found this to be a calling.
That was quite the visual, but also I'm just thinking of her Mary Kay quote as like a Bible verse. This is sickening. I don't know if I've ever seen a cultier Mary Kay consultant in my life. This is terrifying.
So this was my little, back then, y'all, we made 40%, 45, or 50%. It was not 50% across the board. To get a 50% discount on an order, I think your order had to be at least $450. So again, we are so, so blessed.
Who are you trying to convince?
So the first time I met Mary Kay, I have to tell you, Brittany, I sent you that picture, but I don't know if you got it. Mary Kay, this is something I'm so glad they changed. You went to DIQ training before you became a director. Not a good thing. I mean, you were so nervous anyway. Now you go after you've accomplished that, and you go and then you're spending your training. So Mary Kay did teach my DIQ class. We had 72 in our class, and she stood up on the stage all day long in heels and poured out her passion for this company, her passion for us to be better women, to take care of our families, to find a fulfillment in a job that gave us the flexibility to work around our schedules.
You're praising her because she stood up there for hours giving you a speech in heels? Are you fucking kidding me? Do you know what women do today? Because she stood up there for hours praising you. She was just using that time to make sure that she ropes you in for the rest of your life. And here you are, still making her family money. And then spreading the word of Mary Kay Ash. Yikes.
And then we got to go visit her home. And I remember it was a couple days later, like she spoke on the first day, and then it was a couple days later we were going to her home, and she, traditionally baked cookies and froze them in advance and served cookies and punch. And they told us, don't hug Mary Kay because she has shingles. And she had it on her ribs, one side of her ribs. It follows like a nerve pattern. And so they said, don't touch her. It's very painful. And I knew what shingles were being a nurse. And so I thought, oh, I am not going to touch Mary Kay. I don't want to cause her any pain. And when we got there, she had this kind of, they called them muumuus back then, but just a flowy dress that went down to the ground. So no fabric was touching her. And the tradition was to sit on the couch with Mary Kay, and you had your picture taken with Mary Kay. And I was the last one, being Young. I was the last of the 72. We went in alphabetical order, and I'm watching her with everybody thinking, oh, don't, she was hugging us. We were all trying to not lean into her. And even the picture that I have, I don't know if I can pull this up on my phone and I can hold it up to the screen. It shows you, she's pulling me in. Here, see if you can see this. She's pulling me in. Oh, it's kind of blurry. I don't know if you can see it. But anyway, I'm kind of leaning like this because I'm wanting to give her space on the couch, and she is pulling me in.
I would not be excited to touch anybody with shingles. Almost set.
She put up with so much pain that day because she loved the women in her company.
You really believe that?
The future of the company. And that feeling still comes through. I remember one of the first times my husband and I met her, it was they used to open her home, and when you're in the court of sales, you got to go to a reception in her home, and Mary Kay was there, sometimes greeting you right at the door. But that traditional picture was standing in front of her fireplace. And my husband is very tall, he's 6'7", and I'm 5'5", so there's quite a difference in height. I try and wear heels, but that still doesn't make it anything. And Mary Kay herself was, oh my gosh, what do you think, Brittany? 5'1", if 5 feet, teeny tiny. And she put her arm around me, and she looked up at Terry, and she said, "My, you are a tall, handsome man." And then she turned to me and she said, "Work hard for him." So she was inspiring me even through that compliment to him.
Ladies, work hard for yourself. If you're not working hard for yourself first, then you need to reevaluate things. You're living your life. This is your life. You get one. Don't live it for anybody else.
I'll tell you one other story, and then I'll open it up if you've got time for questions. But Winnie Lou worked a way that we could have a private meeting with Mary Kay in this room. It was just, her guards kind of brought her in. The room was closed off. It was this round table, and there were only 6 or 7 of us and Winnie. And Mary Kay sat down, and she went around. She wanted us to introduce ourselves and, how are you? And I said, I'm fine, Mary Kay. And she looked at me and she said, no, Peggy. She saw my name. No, Peggy, you're great. That was her way of affirming herself and teaching us to affirm ourselves. I'm great. I'm great. And I never, ever forgot that even in the way she loved, she was still calling us to excellence. Never, ever letting us fall below the potential we had. And that culture is still in Mary Kay. I mean, the word excellence, it's probably one of the reasons why I keep setting the goal, and we will do it. This year is our year. We're going to do a bye-bye year, beat your best year ever. But the circle of excellence, that word excellence, is calling yourself to a higher plane. And that's what God does. It's not just Mary Kay doing that God, until I'm done breathing, he still has more for me. So I'm just here to keep sharing, shining, doing what I can to impact women that come into my path.
She literally just compared Mary Kay and said she's doing the same thing as God. She's saying that Mary Kay wants to lead you to excellence, just like God does want to lead you to excellence. I am appalled. I have no words. I'm just gonna keep going.
So let's open it up for questions if you've got any questions.
Oh, I love that.
I have questions.
Oh my gosh, you guys, this is such an opportunity. Who wants to ask a question? Put your hand
I'm so pumped. Look at me. I'm so flushed.
up.
This is better than aerobics for 10 minutes.
Who has a question for Peggy?
Maybe I'll give myself a gold star for 10 minutes of movement. I've been doing gold stars to myself. When I do 10 calls in a day, I get a gold star. Go ahead, Pamela.
Okay, I don't really have a question. I just want to say thank you. That was so inspiring. And like you were on a trip, and you're just like begging for somebody to do Mary Kay. And we have people all around us every day. And we hold back because we think, oh, they don't want this, or you're too shy to do this or whatever. But, just like somebody else got you as a recruit because you didn't really know your person, and someone else stepped up. And so we should be more that way. And I just thank you. That was awesome.
Okay, and again, I'll probably get accused of being ageist, but her talking about that story means nothing, absolutely zero, for today. That was 44 years ago. Marketing is different now. People are on social media. All you have to do is go to the Mary Kay website and order. People are not looking for consultants like that anymore. It's apples to oranges. It's completely different.
Oh, thank you, Pamela. Yeah, it's the heartstrings. Connect the heartstrings no matter if you move. And I have a customer, she's a consultant in my unit, that came to my house with her sister when I was 6 days overdue with my son. My son is, let's see, if Katie's 47, Colin's 43, 44. She came 6 days before he was born. And I did a facial on her and her sister. Her sister didn't like Mary Kay. She loved it. She was a customer for a while, then a consultant, then customer again. Now she's a consultant again. The relationship that I have with her, 40 plus years, that just doesn't happen. And Mary Kay allows us to do that.
It does happen, though. There are relationships in life that can go on for 44 years without being in an MLM. My best friend and I are a perfect example of that. We might not be to 44 years yet because neither one of us are even 44, but we've been best friends since 7th grade, and we go almost every other day, at least texting, checking in. You don't need to join an MLM to have a meaningful, long relationship with somebody. Stop making it sound like you do. And it's not just her. It's people in all MLMs that make it sound like you're going to have these amazing, long-lasting life relationships with people if you join the MLM. You don't need an MLM to get meaningful relationships. In fact, you'll probably get more meaningful relationships by just going out into the community and doing things you like. Go to an art event, go to an improv class, go do something that is going to connect you with people without meaning you have to keep paying or meeting a quota to stay in that community.
And I'm like, I already have 2 jobs. I'm busy. I'll come to listen, but I'm not selling Mary Kay. And I ordered product before I left. I'm a consultant because she had that compassion too. And she's just like another mama.
Laura, absolutely. The connection that Laura makes with people, yes. Pamela, you would have missed out on so much by not saying yes to the opportunity with Laura as your girlfriend. Hey, Laura.
Thank you, Peggy. I appreciate it. So happy to see you again. Oh my God. Oh my goodness. It was, I'm so thrilled that you were coming. I just want to add to that funny part of that story, Pamela. Remember what you told at the time he was your boyfriend, fiance, whatever. What did you tell him when you were leaving to go out to my house?
So I met her at a Mexican restaurant and she made a compliment about a necklace I had on and wanted me to come for a facial first. And I said, okay. And she gave me a discount card. And so I called my husband. I'm like, okay, I'm going for a facial. I don't know this woman from Adam, but I'm giving you the address. And if you don't hear from me within an hour, come find me.
Oh, that's good. She's got a trustworthy face.
Yeah. Oh, and Pamela's wonderful. And my other consultant here is MJ. And MJ gave me a real hard time for 2 years. And I knew she was made for this. So I didn't give up on her. Right, MJ?
So many people in our unit, Peggy, live all across the country. We have consultants in 23 states, and the fact that we can Zoom every week is so great because
Yep.
you remember when you used to move, you'd find what we called an adopted director in
Right.
the town where you were, and your, consultants would go to that wherever that director's meetings were. And I think one of the best things that came out of COVID is we all started Zooming. And so
Amen.
tonight we have Nancy in Ohio, Stephanie in Pennsylvania, Pam in Tennessee, MJ and Laura in New Jersey, Shelley in Ohio, Margaret in Seattle, Sharon in Virginia, Lauren and I are in Virginia. What would we do if we didn't have technology? And so I just think it's
Amen.
so amazing that we figured it out before we had that. And now that we have it, just the limits are off. Who else has a question for Peggy or even a comment or wants to affirm her?
Well, I don't know why I'm disgusted, but if you want to affirm her, can you guys please affirm me in the comments, please? I'm looking for affirmation. What? At least say it in a different way. Like, come on, affirm her. Tell her she did great so she thinks she did great, even if she didn't do great. Brittany.
Hi, Brittany. I have a question.
Go for it, Margot.
I don't know, Margot.
Every time I hear that name, I can't help it.
There is a sales director who has a strategy for getting into the National Court of Sales, and she looks for 45 people who will buy roughly $1,000 a year. So they're usually on skincare, and she kind of calculates what that might be and whether or not it's the repair set or the miracle set or whatever. But she's got this system for approaching it that way, and I'm wondering how viable you think that is, and what do you think of that idea?
Are you asking me or Brittany, Margaret?
Either one.
Okay, I am formerly a Margaret too, so I'm zeroing in on your gorgeous name. That, in fact, was explained and taught very clearly today on our director's call with Kristen Sharp. I think when we take care of people well and expand their use of the product, that leads to a solid business. I think the first time in the National Court of Sales is a head game. It's work. I mean, it's work, but it's a head game. It's a mentally saying, I can stretch myself this big. And I will tell you, once you've done it once, it is, I won't say easy, but it's smoother. It flows better because think about it, in the going there, you're adding new customers and those new customers become reorders here and you're still adding new and it keeps growing this. The strategy of that 45 though, that I loved was it's 25 products and you have a spreadsheet so that you're constantly assessing. If my customer, Kathy, she's on foundation, she's on the skincare. She hasn't tried replenishing C+E, which I teach to mix it with your lifting serum. Then I need to send her a sample with a cute little coupon and give her 2 weeks to try it and maybe choose that. So it is a very, very strategic way of doing great customer service. And think about it, as your team member, if you've got team members who only came in just for that 50% discount, well, if Mary Kay makes it, I'm going to buy it. I'm not going to go to another store to buy anything that I can get at 50% with a satisfaction guarantee and the quality and the purity of Mary Kay. So if everybody in Mary Kay had that mindset, our company would probably increase 20%. Just saying.
Yeah, but even at cost, the products are still more expensive than if you go to Walmart. And in today's economy, a lot of people cannot afford the prices of Mary Kay, even at cost.
But that, yes, there's going to be more and more training, and Brittany's got access to what was taught today, and we're going to be running with that one for sure. And I will tell you that when you have a unit that has a couple people in the court of sales, and let's say that's not your goal, but maybe the princess court is, you have a couple in the princess, a couple in the court of sales, a couple in the unit court that you do.
What the are we doing? Court of sales, princess court? These people, they're still living in high school. They have homecoming queen, prom king and queen. What the are we doing?
You guys are going to be Cadillac and unit and breaking records and being higher than you ever were, and you're all going to be making money.
Yes.
Bottom line is, what do you want your income to do for your family?
And you guys, I just have to brag on Peggy. She has so many stories. We could be on here for hours and weeks and months. She went one time to buy, I think they called them conversion vans. Didn't they, Peg, back then?
Yes,
Can
yes.
you tell what happened with the salesperson when you went to buy that van?
Oh my gosh. Well, I started a goal. Every time I sold a basic, I put $5 in a jar. And every time I interviewed someone, I put $5 in a jar because that's where you make your money, selling skincare and sharing the opportunity. And we had done several goals. I bought a piano. We went to Disney World, and the last one was this conversion van. And I'd saved up the money. I'm thinking back then it was maybe, I don't know, $27,000. Our kids designed the color. They just did some amazing designs on this thing. I go to pay for it, and the dealership, the finance person, and it was a female, and I'm ready to write a check. And she said, how would you like to finance that? And I said, oh, I'm not going to finance it. I'm going to write a check. And she looked at me and she said, well, no, you don't understand. We're talking about like the full amount. And I said, no, you don't understand. I'm with Mary Kay. I have the money to write the check. And she said, oh, okay. And I chose the dealership because they paid attention to me. The first dealership we went to, they talked to my husband the whole time. And finally, we went back a second time and he said, I'd like to introduce you to my wife. She's paying for this vehicle. And then he was all over me so much. It was like, oh. And I went to a different dealership.
Oh my gosh, you guys, I just want to underscore again, Peggy's been in the business 44 years. Now, she is clearly, you can tell, incredibly financially wise. She is a mother. She was a nurse. She is a very accomplished woman, and she could have done anything and been very successful.
That was a major financial claim that she just made there. Those aren't allowed to be made, actually, especially on training calls with teams for Mary Kay, giving them false hope that they might be able to write a check for a vehicle and have the money in their account. First of all, you can't even really write a check anywhere these days. Nobody accepts checks anymore.
But she saw how this could benefit her family and how she could at the same time be home with her kids and support her husband's military career. And the entire time that I was a consultant, Peggy and Terry were still a military family. I mean, they lived in military housing here at Langley Air Force Base. In fact, she was just across the water, for those of you who know our Hampton Roads area. But I could not go to her weekly success event because I couldn't leave my full-time job, get through the bridge tunnel, and get to her meetings. So I had an adopted director in Virginia Beach, which was a godsend because thank goodness for the adoptee program. All the people that have loved on all of you in Tennessee and in Ohio and in Washington State and all over.
They have an adoptee program. We just keep getting cultier by the second here on this call.
How we build relationships in Mary Kay. But you guys, I remember like it was yesterday. I don't want to cry. Peggy coming to my appointments with me. And I can remember one where there was this little kid screaming and crying, and Peggy just picked that baby up and put that baby on her lap and bounced it, went on talking about the skincare, just gathered around a living room. We didn't have table seating for everybody. We were in a living room. I remember another time, Peggy gave me the wisest advice. It used to be that you needed, and still is, a certain number of people active on your team to go on target for your car. And we had completed the sales portion of that, but I needed one more person active. And this was back in the day where when the star quarters changed, even if you had been active on September 15th, on the last day of the star quarter, you had to get active again in the new star quarter. It didn't go by calendar months. It was very complicated. And I went to see my team member, and she had just had a baby. And she said to me, I'm going to wait and place my order in a few days because it'll be the new quarter. And then that way I'll be active for the whole quarter. And it made sense to me. And I remember getting in my car. We didn't have cell phones back then, you guys. And I went home and I called Peggy and I said, we're not going to finish our car, Peggy. Dawn is going to wait and place her order. And she just had this baby. And Peggy said something so powerful. Listen, she said, did you tell her that if she chose to place her order now, that she would be the one that would finish the goal, that would allow you to finish the goal and earn the car? And I said, well, no, I didn't tell her that because that feels like that's my goal. It's about me. And she said, you didn't invite her to be part of it. Wow.
Don't put that pressure on your friend. Yucky. That's not how to run a business. That is a red flag. I've said it before in past videos. If you go up to somebody and ask them for help for your incentive trip or your pink Mary Kay car, it is tacky. Putting the pressure of ordering from you so that you can keep your Mary Kay car or get your Mary Kay car on your friend is so diabolical. Now your friend feels like they have to order, even if they don't have the money to order right now. They feel like they have to, so they might dig into savings or something just so you can get your car. That's selfish. And I understand that's their responsibility to be like, no, I'm not buying from you today. But some people don't want to admit that they cannot afford it. So they'll do whatever they have to do to get the money to buy from that person so they can help them because now they feel even more pressure. It's gross. Just don't do that. Don't. Ew.
And so I called Dawn and I said, okay, I sort of left this part out, but it's up to you. You order when you want to, but so you can make an informed choice. And I still use those words to this day. here's what the difference would be. And she said, Brittany, I would love to help you finish earning your car. I was just going to wait a few days. I didn't have a great reason to do it, but I'm happy to place the order now. You guys, your customers want to be part of your goal. We heard Margie talk about that at seminars. She always talks to our customers about how she's not the number 9 director in sales. They're the number 9 client base. And Peggy always talked to me about all of you as a unit. You care about the goals we're working on as a unit. They're not my goals, they're our goals, because we can't hit any of them without doing it together. And so I share that because she has taught me so many lessons. And probably the most powerful one was this. She and Terry were building their dream home, and they were living in a friend's, remember that A-frame house, Peggy, that you were living in
it was at the lake in Fredericksburg.
In Fredericksburg, Virginia.
And it wasn't winterized.
Right. Oh, and they were building
it was winter.
After this whole Air Force career, their dream home, they were going to get to stay put, or so they thought, in one place for the rest of their life. They built this huge dream home. And I was in DIQ, and Peggy was like, they were staying in someone's house a little while and the construction was going on. And Peggy was doing what Peggy needed to do. She was with her family and all that. And I can remember thinking, this is embarrassing, but I remember thinking, where is Peggy? Like, I'm now finally in this place where I'm in director and qualification, and Peggy's building a house and staying in an A-frame and doing all these things. But Peggy was smart. She was way smarter than me, you guys, and still is, because she knew that I needed to prove to myself that I could become a director and complete the qualifications without her.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you, she called me about, I don't even remember, 5 days before qualifications were over. They gave us 4 months, but I was determined to do it in 3. And she said, well, now we're in more of a stable place. And so what can I do? And I remember thinking, are you kidding me? Now you're calling me? But you guys, it was so strategic. And I know she did that because she was smarter than I was. And she knew me. She knew that if it had been, just like I would say to all of you, if it had felt like it was, I did it because Peggy helped me, then in Mary Kay, we like to say that would have felt like the magic feather. None of us as a director has a magic feather. You have everything in you to do it yourself. Just like Lauren did that sharing appointment. I didn't even know she was doing it on Sunday. I knew she was booking it, but I didn't know when it was. She signed that team member. And just like when Marty was talking about selling those products at that show and smell, and Shelly was talking about what she did, and whenever any of you do anything, yes, the training's been planted in us, but there's nothing special about me. I just followed what Peggy taught me to do. And so whenever you feel like you need me, please know you don't need me. You need the training I've given you, but you don't need me. There's nothing about me that can make that happen. And so Peggy, I'm so grateful that you've always allowed me to be independent and encouraged me and pushed me out of the nest even when I felt like I wasn't ready to fly. I found my wings thanks to you. And I'm so—
You were always ready to fly. You were always ready to fly. But you make a really good—
I mean, I love women giving compliments to women, but that's really just what it's a love fest. What is this doing for anybody's business? Sorry, but for real. All right, yeah, they just went on to compliment each other for the rest of the time. And this was already a long call as it was. Again, I'm going to say it. This was the cultiest Mary Kay call I've ever watched. Let me know what you think. Is it just me? Am I Delulu? I don't know. Anyway, if you're not subscribed and you like this video, make sure you hit subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Hit the thumbs up or the thumbs down. Either way, engagement is cool. And if you didn't know, I'm starting a new series on my channel called Anonymous and a Menace, where I read out your confessions and embarrassing stories anonymously and judge you. I'm kidding. I have no idea who they're coming from. There is a link to a form that you can submit a embarrassing story, a confession that you want to get off your chest, whatever it is. You could drop it there. I will never know where it comes from unless you tell me your name. So you're guaranteed anonymity. I don't know. I'm not gonna let anybody know who you are, is what I mean to say. So you can go ahead and do that, or just join me while I judge everybody else. The series will start airing on my channel in October, every other Sunday. And as always, thanks for hanging out with me while I talk a bunch of shit, and I will see you in the next one.